Hello and welcome to See Hope Podcast, where we look for hope in all situations. This week, we're going to be talking about Anzac Day. We just had Anzac Day. So today is actually Anzac Day, but this is a pre recorded episode. So this will be coming to you on Monday. So Anzac Day is a few days later. Not later, before.
Earlier.
Earlier. Get your words right. Get your words right. All right. If you could please, before we start, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share the show with everyone you know. Every like is a high five to John. Every share is a high five to me.
No, low five.
A low five to John. So high five and a low five, mate. Get them happening because we can't do this without your support. So jump in there, jump in the comments, and let us know where you find. How did your Anzac Day go? Did you attend a dawn service? Would love to hear your stories about. And if you have any relatives who fought in the wars, or any stories about you yourself being, I guess, in the army or just in our military and have served Australia. But without further ado, let's crack into it. So Anzac Day. It was I went to the dawn service this morning, and so did John and his family. We're at different services, and I was humbled to see so many people turn up, especially in a climate where it feels like Australia has kind of been, like, nationalism or anything like that is kind of really being stomped on, that people are not seeing Australia as Australia anymore, myself included. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that we were talking with our friends, and there was a point there where we asked, like, oh, would you fight and die for Australia? And I was like, 10 years ago, it was a very different answer. I was like, well, I would be the first one signing up. But now it's a very different story. But this morning got me thinking, and got me emotional, because I really do believe in Australia. I really do believe in the country we've created here, and the people who have died to make this country what it is. And I still believe Australia's roots are there, and the Anzac roots are still embedded in that, and that we do have an opportunity to turn this all around and bring it back. Yeah, John, what do you think?
Well, this was my first dawn service, but
Yeah, how was it?
yeah, no, it was good. A bit wet. Had 4-month-year-old out in the rain, but covered obviously. But that was good. I was surprised.
You sacrificed your jacket to keep it wet,
Yeah,
keep it dry.
keep it dry. I was surprised how many people showed up, especially with the weather turning.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we were at the entrance. There was so many people.
with what you just said before, is that will that sustain you for some time? Like you said, 10 years ago you would, and then you were thinking just the other week, maybe not, and then
Yeah, look,
now.
I was kind of thinking that, like, oh man, maybe I need another Anzac Day during the year just to keep me. I think it was a good reset, and it gets me thinking about those things and where my priorities kind of sat in terms of this country, and how I support this country and where I believe. And I guess why we're doing things like this on the channel, why we talk about Anzac Day, why we talk about our hope in our societies, and where we find hope, particularly for myself being a Christian, finding hope in God, and fighting against tyranny and things like that. So I do believe we are called to try to keep the world, or bring part of the Lord's Prayer. How's it go? Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done on earth. So, like, I believe that we are to actively try to bring His will onto into the earth. Doesn't mean like slamming it down everyone's throats.
There's free will
I do.
well.
Sorry.
Free will as well.
Yeah,
So
free
His
will
will and free will.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
like I want to see Australia was founded on Christian roots. Same with a lot of the Western nations, and I'd love to see it kind of get back to its roots, especially because of the amazing place this turned into, and it mainly became such a place because of those roots.
So when you say fight for and die for the country, are you reflecting on the Anzacs in that moment?
Yeah, I would say I was reflecting on the Anzacs in that moment.
And
But
then you're thinking, would you do it now? Is that how it went?
would I do it now? It was kind of like that. It was more just um, it wasn't just about, because I've been an army reservist many years ago. That if there was I guess a world war and there was conscription, I'd probably be the first one called up anyway. Um, and there was a part there where I was feeling very disenfranchised with Australia and going, man, I don't even know if I would want to go to fight for Australia. But when I was looking at um, and there was this story about that came up during the service about a digger called Crash, um, who who died fighting in Afghanistan, and it's not just you're fighting for your country, you're also fighting for the blokes next to you, and that hit me hard.
So my question then, not to sort of pivot, but with the Anzacs, they weren't fighting for Australia; they were fighting for the motherland. Would you fight for the motherland?
That's a very different. That's a very different story. Look, I think the line. I don't think they were fighting for the motherland. I think they were sold in the first place. They were sold a great adventure, and I think World War II was a bit more
The,
was fighting for against the tyranny of Hitler, and I think Australians did believe, and that would be from the propaganda of the motherland. But
World War Two
I
was
do
a
think
call to
Australia.
arms from England, and a lot of Australians in
Yeah,
the early
I don't think
1900s saw themselves as British first. Yeah,
I don't know. Out of the I guess the interviews I've seen about young, like going through the war memorial and stuff, and seeing past interviews of I guess World War I veterans and stuff. It was, and I guess they're probably the youngest of the people who went, because they were the ones who I guess lived the longest to then be able to be recorded and stuff like that. But they were saying like it wasn't it was more the adventure that they were sold on. It wasn't this call to Britain, call of Britain, call of the motherland kind of thing. I don't know if that's a different story. You've kind of had a
I
different
just listened
experience.
to history, a lot of history stuff on YouTube. Get a lot of political ads listening to it though, because they go for like 3 hours.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
political ads right now.
yeah. Sorry if you guys get it while listening to this.
It's yeah, we didn't give permission for those ads to be on our channel, but we don't have
Just the one behind you.
don't have any autonomy there.
Um,
We're all for the
so with that
independence right now.
hypothetical, I don't want to deviate too much, I guess. Um, if Russia was to be aggressive towards England, would you enlist and fight for England?
Uh, Probably not. I think like I'm very anti-war. Look, it depends on the circumstances.
Tyranny,
Tyranny.
yeah, tyranny
I'm
of
very
Britain. You say
anti-war. I want to be able to be prepared to fight, but not want to fight, kind of thing. Um, but it would mostly like
so. The Beast in Beauty and the Beast.
no,
What?
no, no. They're more like the people who do like martial arts and stuff. They prepared, they know how to fight, but they would prefer not to fight, and their training and stuff is all about not not getting into fights.
That's the Beast story.
No,
He's a
I don't
little
want
rough
to talk
around the
about Beauty and
edges.
the
Yeah.
Beast.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about Stockholm syndrome.
So what was the biggest thing then that that you got out of this dawn service this morning?
I think the fact the amount of people that went and showed their support, and I do see an Australian spirit there still, and that kind of gave me hope for the future of Australia, and that's I think that's where mostly I come from. It's not actually to do, excuse me, not largely to do with like my willingness to I guess to join and enlist and fight for Australia and stuff. It's more about that I still have hope that Australia isn't like
That's the ideal,
Australia
right?
isn't lost,
Yeah,
that
it's the
the
ideal.
idea of Australia
Yeah.
isn't lost, that the foundings on the Christian culture and the ideas of the Great Australian Dream and stuff like that, and that the freedoms and that we have here in Australia is because of and that we still hold those people up for us for in Anzac tradition, and like it's those things like Australia Day that have been getting attacked and whatnot, and that if there's no for a long time recently it's well, not a long time for recently like Australia Day has been constantly attacked. You've been told that you're a terrible colonizer and things like that because you're white. You need to be sorry. Reconciliation Day and stuff like that. That we don't focus on the good things that Australia has actually done for everyone, not just one people.
Um, with the turnout this morning, was it young, old? What was the demographic looking?
The demographic was all
All, and that's probably the best.
look. How can I put this? All ages, yes. All ethnicities, no, and that could be the area I'm in, being the
But,
entrance, but
all right.
um, don't know if that's like a very white area or something like that. But like there many, there wasn't a lot of diversity there, if I can put it that way. And I don't know if that's because there's just that diversity isn't reflected in the community. I do know it's holiday time, school holidays, and with the Easter holidays and the Anzac holidays that people have taken extra time off,
And school holidays.
and school holidays. But like uh, the Middle Eastern people like to holiday up on the up in the entrance a lot. I didn't see any of them turn out either. So I don't know if they're just not holidaying there anymore or what.
It
But
might be
like,
a sore point. Turkey.
yeah, but like you're living like I think this is where I keep coming back to assimilation. I don't think assimilation is a bad thing, but if you want to be a part of a country that, I mean, why are you moving here in the first place?
Yeah.
Are you liking the life that Australia has got? I mean, then you should be kind of following the ideals that like how many like when the Greeks or the Italians migrated from their countries after World War Two. Is it World War Two?
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, well,
So World War Two
there
ramped
was
up. Ramped up a lot
yeah, and
after
so
40s,
they
50s.
decided that like, and you hear this from like South Africans as well who migrate here. They're like, we like to we still think of our traditions and whatnot, but if Australia got into a war with them for some reason, like we would give our lives for Australia,
Yeah.
which I think that's what's sorely missed in all these cultures that keep. And I think this is where I disagree with wanting to be a multicultural society. It's kind of saying that we can just keep bringing in people and kind of replacing people, and that we're not actually keeping those Anzac traditions. But just seeing the turnout today really gave me hope that all is not lost, and the discussions can still be had, and that we can still be honoring the people who have been around, who have died, and when we have our children, we'll be taking them to the dawn service, and so they know the sacrifice that the Anzacs and all the people who've been in service for Australia have actually given to make the life that we have here what it is.
Do you have a Anzac story or a story around Anzac Day that stands out in your lifetime?
Well, can you ask again just to help me wrap my head around it and give me another second to think?
Okay. Is there a story that stands out that's around either understanding the Anzac story or with the Anzac Day itself?
I think it's more Anzac Day itself for me right now.
Do you have a story that accompanies that stands out?
I guess that story I talked about Crash
Yeah. Okay.
and his life that was given. He was fought in Afghanistan, and his we I don't think we were supposed to be there, but he was still there, and he died, and I think that's tragic. And he left behind a wife who was pregnant, and she gave birth. I think when she found out
Yeah. Right.
his on the news or something, or when she got word of it, and
Went
it's
into labor.
just a tragic story. And I guess that also picks up like we should be doing more for our veterans and their families.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, that's another story. That's another thing. That's another discussion. Um, hey, you're not a. I guess you don't have any past in the military or anything like
Oh,
that. You're
mate,
just
my grandfather was in the Navy, and that explains his rampant homosexuality. No, it was a gay man, and also in the Navy. So, but
but he wasn't like what? So he was gay,
was gay. Yeah, he died.
and he had a wife and kids. Like,
Yeah, it was like the 70s or whatever, so it was still a bit, taboo. But anyway, that's not my Anzac story.
yeah, okay, yeah. You asked me the question. How about back to you?
So this
Maybe
is
I can get a better
Australia
idea.
Day though, and it relates to Anzac Day.
Okay.
So over in Europe, in France, we started hanging out like we were at the slopes over in France. Started hanging out with people that spoke English. The French don't really do that very well. Um,
No,
so
they do speak English, but I think it's
they don't do it to English people though.
they don't like to,
Yeah.
unless you like try to speak French first or something like that.
Okay. I take your word on it. I
That's
didn't
what
know.
I
I
was.
didn't know a
That
lick
was
of. I
that's
didn't
what I
know a
was
lick
told.
of French, so it didn't
Yeah,
really
so
help me know.
pretty much is for you like, oh,
Parlez, parlez
parlez-vous
anglais.
anglais. Yeah, and
Yeah.
okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you give it a try,
Yeah.
good.
So
Bonjour.
we started hanging out with the English
Yeah, okay.
people because they spoke English, and it was Australia Day, so we're like, oh, we're going to go out tonight. Like, you guys going out? It's Australia Day, and they're like, oh yeah, what's Australia Day? And I'm like, oh, it's a big, national holiday to celebrate Australia being formed. And they're like, oh yeah, what other holidays do you have? And I go, oh, Christmas, Easter, normal, and then like Anzac Day, and they're like, Anzac Day, what's that? I'm like, it's where you bloody guys send us over to die. But you don't even recognize it. That's us sacrificing for you guys not even to acknowledge it. Yeah. So that's my story.
That's your story.
Yeah.
And so, how does that make you feel? Like
Oh, like these guys were like 20, like 19, 20, 21 sort of thing. So they're
yeah,
young, but it's sort of like, I don't know, it's a big thing for Australia and New Zealand.
yes,
Massive.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it was kind of that time where we solidified our national identity in it
Yeah.
as well, and I guess the values that they showed as well.
But not willingly and knowingly, like going to the trenches, knowing what's going to happen.
Yeah,
That's
World War
insane.
One was a dreadful war. I don't think any like the invention of the machine gun in trench warfare that would have been a hard war to fight.
Yeah. So I've listened to a bit of history, and they reckon Napoleon is to blame for
World War One.
or the death in World War One,
Yeah,
because he would say they would say, I've got 10,000 men. He would say, I'm going to get 50,000 men. I win.
yeah,
He was just getting farmers and whatever. So it was all about numbers and meat grinders,
yeah.
and that's pretty much the World War One story.
I thought Napoleon was pre. World War One.
It was, but the tactics in
Oh,
war
okay.
was
Was mostly because of him.
yeah
Yeah, okay.
yeah
That's where they kind of got their journal from. Like
yeah
that's their
that,
war college
yeah
was largely Napoleon. Short man, short stature.
yeah.
Yep. So when you say it's your story, what does that mean? Like
Like that's something I experienced in my lifetime that it relates to like
just Anzac Day.
Anzac Day. So I like we've been brought up to think this is an important day, and we get to know the history a bit.
Yeah.
But then you go to the place that they were fighting for. Really, like they weren't fighting for us.
Yeah. I think there's a lot more recognition in France. Like if you actually talk to the French about Australians, did you talk to anyone who was French about the Australian Anzacs?
Not about Anzacs, no.
Okay, because like they do have a war memorial there, and there was uh the the Battle of Villers, and forgive me, French people, if I'm butchering this. Villers,
Ooh, what was that?
you knocking the wall. Villers Bretonneux.
Is it north? Sounds north.
I can't remember where it is. I can pull it up. But yeah, Australians fought there and was able to liberate the town where it wasn't being able to be liberated before.
Is this World War One?
No, World War Two,
Okay.
and they have a war memorial there. They have a museum dedicated to us as well, and it wasn't just us. I'm pretty sure Canadians
Yeah.
were there as
Back
well.
when
But
Canada
like
was cool.
back when Canada was cool. Um, and like so they hold Anzac service there. I went and visited the memorial and the museum, but yeah, the Aussies they did some fun things to I guess trick the to trick the enemy. They they had have big cardboard cutouts of tanks,
Yeah.
and they use subterfuge to confuse the enemy, just convincing them that there was armor coming, but there wasn't. Just Aussies being larrikins and using that to their advantage,
Have you heard
and I think that's pretty cool.
Norm Macdonald's take on like he's dead now, but funny guy.
Funny guy.
Yeah. Have you heard his take on the Germans and the World Wars?
No,
He does a bit. It's like he just describes like basic stuff and elaborates on really basic stuff. But pretty much he goes, I'm not scared of the Iraq, Iran, North Korea, Russia, anyone like that. I'm afraid of Germany.
yeah,
He goes, I don't know if you guys are history buffs, but yeah, the early part of the 18th century, 18th, 19th, no, 20th century.
20th century, mate.
That's how it works. I'm going backwards to go forwards. Anyway, Germany goes to war, and who does it pick as its enemy? The world. And then 40 years later, guess what they do again? They go to war, and then guess who they pick as the enemy again?
The world.
The world. Anyway,
I don't think they picked. I don't think they picked the world as their enemy, but I think as a consequence of their actions, they ended up with the world as their enemy.
it's a bit. It's a bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, mate.
Just try and keep it lighthearted.
The Battle of Villers was fought in April 24th, 1918. That's World War One.
Yeah.
That's
There
World
you
War
go.
One, not two. Where Australian troops, along with British troops, counterattack and recaptured a town from the German forces. They effectively halted the German spring offensive, and it was a significant event commemorated in the Australian War Memorial and the memorial to the missing in France, which is the one I went and visited. I'll see if I can find a picture of it. Essentially, it was Aussies that um, made that counteroffensive. Uh, yeah. Oh, that's not it. There we go. See if I can get this up. There we go. Beauty. I need to take it over to the other screen. There you go. Oh, I haven't brought the people over with us. Here we go. There you go. There. That was the war memorial in. Yeah, how would you pronounce that, John?
Where is it?
At the top there. Um, let me see if I can move it for you. Velez Breton.
The X isn't pronounced. It's different.
Yeah, that's I thought I was
Is
pronouncing
it?
that right.
No, it's not O. It's a
Bre- Bretonneau? Bretonneau?
Yeah, probably that
Yeah,
sounds French
Velez Bretonneau.
or
We're not
croissant. I
French.
don't know.
Is it any French in the comments, please? Send us up. Send us up some love and tell us if we're doing it right. If I'm doing that right or not. Yeah. But yeah, there's some pretty amazing things that Australians did during the wars. One of my other ones that I like to read about was the Battle of Beersheba, the last cavalry charge of Beersheba. Essentially, the Aussie light horse, and I'm pretty sure the British was with them too. They last cavalry charge.
Yeah,
I said that.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I thought in my head I said bayonet charge. That's
Cavalry. No.
cavalry charge. Essentially, they were running out of food and water, and they were like, we either need to attack or we're gonna die." Essentially, so it was like a lose lose for them. So they decided to attack. The 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 German forces thought they were, had it in the bag, and essentially they surprised them with this full cavalry charge, and they caught them so off guard that they didn't adjust their machine guns, and so when the Australians came over, at first it was a bit of a killing ground, but eventually the bullets just started going over their heads because they didn't re-zero their weapons or anything like that. It was just didn't recalibrate them. They were just over their heads, and so they actually were able to get in close and pretty much rush the whole position.
You're right.
So, but yeah, it was just this do or die kind of situation, or die or die kind of situation, and they came out of it, and yeah, pretty cool story. You can read up some pretty cool stuff about it. But yeah, I'm getting back to, I guess do you have anything
Oh,
from the
listening to it's not Anzac. It's a Second World War. I'd say it sticks out is listen to a documentary on Rommel's Rommel's Rommel's. Who cares?
Do you want me to try to look it up?
That was on YouTube.
Yep.
Um, pretty much his diary about how they were going in the African campaign,
Yeah.
and pretty much the only thing he feared was the Australians.
Yeah.
So they
Right.
fought like the devil, but um, weren't professional, but somehow got the job done.
Yeah. So World War I. Yeah. You keep going. Keep going.
Yeah. And the stuff that he wrote, because he's writing to his wife, diary entries and to his wife.
Mm.
It was just it was quite profound. I think I think the spirit is lost, if you know what I mean. Like it's not the same. It's not the same Australia as back then.
I don't think I think the Australia is lost. I also think kind of the I don't think it's fully lost, but I think the kind of people that the Anzac used to be, um, you hear. I don't know if it's changing a bit now because you don't hear as much about it, but there was so many stories of um, like army guys and stuff getting into all sorts of trouble with the locals and whatnot in terms of what were those scandals and stuff.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and and like that's something I didn't like when I was a part of the reserves as well. So if you go away for a weekend, that was their weekend away. Some of these guys, and it was like if they had the opportunity to go out on the town, they would, even if they had family back home. And I really disagree with that. Like, why are you doing this? Like, aren't you fighting for them, kind of thing?
yeah. I don't know.
That's that.
I don't
So,
know
like, I
that
don't know if that's. I
the
don't know if
motive wouldn't be the same because the
we haven't been at war.
yeah, I don't think the motivation's the same. But I will take back one thing. Like the difference would be that was an everyday Australian that was fighting overseas. Now it's uh,
Professional
professional
soldiers.
soldiers, and we do actually have uh, right up there with professional soldiers. We're
With
in the top 10.
some of the best trained in the world.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, right up there. So that there still is that fighting spirit in Australia, I
Yeah.
believe, but it's not like the everyday Australian. I don't think
No.
like it was before.
Yeah.
So just to clarify that,
Yeah. And look, I mean, some of those scandals were full timers as well. So I don't think it's just the reservists kind of having that mentality, but it's I guess it's the culture they build around it, and I think they need to rein it in and kind of fix it up because our soldiers are top tier, and we want to be top tier around the world, and that's I think morally we should be top tier as well, not
how does
just
that work with a co-ed?
yeah. I disagree with the co-ed stuff for a different reason than just it being boys and girls together. I think um, a very wise man was telling us about um, that he didn't agree with it because of the little sister syndrome. Essentially, what happens if a girl goes down next to you, a girl gets hurt near you, you're more likely to get angry, see red, and fight harder instead of actually getting down and helping her um, to survive. Whereas if a brother gets shot, it's a different. You have a different mindset. You got to get down and help your mate. It's just something, just a little bit of psychology there, kind of thing. That just kind of different switches that hit when your brother goes down or your sister goes down, and so that's why I guess. I mean, if women want to fight, I'd rather have full
Women's squads.
full women's squads and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't think they should be fighting together.
Uh,
I don't think that's a good thing to have.
Also today, let's go through the news cycles, which we probably won't bring up, but discuss now.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Was a booing to welcome to country, and
Yeah.
how do you feel about that?
Um, I definitely condone the action of it happening on Anzac Day.
Condone means you for it.
Sorry, condemn.
Condemn.
I condemn the action
Yeah.
of any sort of protest at Anzac Day. I think if you want to protest, sure, go and protest, but not on this day. Not at a dawn service. Not no, these services aren't. They're there to help us remember and to give honor and respect to those who have fighting / fought for us in the past.
So the spotlight should be on that, not on someone booing.
That's right,
Is that what you're getting at?
100%.
But
And
outside of that, the welcome to country at a
I don't think the
Anzac,
welcome of the country. I will agree with them. I don't think the welcome of the country should be a part of an Anzac service either.
because
I don't think
it's all about the Anzacs. It's not
it
about
should be all about the Anzacs.
yeah.
That's exactly what Anzac Day is for. It is all about the Anzacs. It is all about the Anzac spirit and the country that the Anzacs made through their sacrifice.
So then, where would the grandstanding need to happen for it to be publicised or to be spoken about and to be debated?
Anywhere else.
No, but like
You
You,
can
you get the
debate it in
highlight.
Parliament, protest elsewhere. You protest. Just Anzac Day is just, in my mind, it's like a solemn, a time for remembering,
Yeah.
reflection, silence. Silence is a big thing. Why do you think we have a minute of silence so you can actually remember? Like, I don't think it's a place for protest. You obviously disagree.
No, I don't disagree. I was asking you
Okay.
a question.
What do you think then?
Well, I think pretty well what you said is it shouldn't be a shared event
Yeah.
for anyone, like for anything. It should just be remembering the sacrifices that they've made for us to be here today,
Yeah.
and that's it. It's not about um, elders past or present,
No, it's not about that.
or about someone booing.
Yeah, it should be neither of those things. It
Yeah,
should be just about the Anzacs.
yeah,
And, I wasn't happy when I heard it either, but, I'm not going to disrupt the whole service because of it. Um, yeah, I'm not a big fan of Welcome to Country, but I'm not a big fan of people disrupting a Anzac service. You know what else gives me hope that I saw this morning? That um, Miss old vet came through and his son was guiding him through. He was clearly probably in his 90s, maybe
mm,
even older. Um, and they moved, like, people got up from their seats to give him a seat, but then some of the seats are wet, and so they were like trying to get rid of the water. But this lady, um, who was standing next to me, it went up before anyone else. Like, she was right on it. She went and gave them her scarf, and just like, so they could dry it up for him. That's just
yeah, cool story.
respect for your
Yeah,
elders, and just the
and yeah,
respect for that man in particular. Um, Beautiful work. If you're listening to, if you, I don't know who that lady is. If you're listening to this podcast ever, you did a good job today. Done well. But yeah, that was a cool thing to see, and that, you know that our respect for our elders and for the people who have fought for us isn't lost, and that gives me hope. That does give me hope.
that's a good story.
It is.
We need
I
more.
think I
We need
think
more of those. Yeah,
more of those stories. I think we need more of those stories of, if you take your family out in the rain, that you take off your jacket and you give it to your family. That's a good story there too.
no, water won't kill me, but it might kill my daughter.
You never know, you might get pneumonia, and that might get you.
Yeah, I'm okay.
You're a strong man. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have stories of hope, especially about today and the Anzacs, send them up in the comments and we'll read them out next week. Ooh, excuse me. We'd love to hear from you, and tell us about your hopes, that you've seen from the that your hope may have been affected by the spirit of the Anzacs. If there's anything, like any stories like that, please send them through. We'd love to hear them, and we'd love to read them out on the podcast.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we'll finish up there, and thank you for joining us, John. Is there anything you want to say before you head out?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, just happy with today.
Happy with
Anzac,
today?
yeah,
Your
happy to be
first,
Australian.
your first Anzac
Yeah,
service,
it's pretty good, special.
even in the rain.
And also my daughter, who's 4 months old, has done as many as I have in 33 years. So there you go.
Hey, she could beat you there.
Yeah, easy.
She's got a lot more life
Yeah,
life to live. Yeah, no, awesome. No, it was really cool being there. I never like, never miss it. I've been going to them for a very long time now. So to give my respects, and to give my respect to the men and women who and to honor those who have fought for us and who have died for us and who have given us. And I love that picture of the society kind of being held up by the Anzacs who have died, and that fighting and dying below it, just holding it up. And it got me very emotional this morning, listening to those stories and stuff like that. So, for those who are serving right now, thank you. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your service. If any of you guys want to come on and have a chat, I'd love to have you. But that's it for us. You have a good night, good week. We did miss a week, and I do apologize. We were hoping we were away for Easter, and we hope that everyone else was too. And we will probably talk about that next week. Yeah, because I think that's the greatest hope we have is the hope in
Definitely.
Jesus, his death and resurrection. So stay tuned, and we'll bring that up in the following week. We'll see you next time.
Catch ya.